episode of The Way of the Blade. My name is Nori, representing Rowdy Fighters. Tonight's guest for the series is going to be Saiyne. How are you, Saiyne?
I am ecstatic to start this with you. I am honored to be the first one, and I hope everyone's doing well and welcome.
Thank you, man. The honor is all mine. I appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to help us out. A lot of people watch your Ivy in amazement, me included, and my best friend's an Ivy player. And we're still in awe of the stuff you do. So thank you for taking the time to kind of show everybody, let us pick your brain a little bit.
Thank you.
So I wanted to make the series basically for beginners, intermediate, and advanced. Also, I wanted to give a shout out to King J for the Tekken series. Please follow him on YouTube, King and then JAE. He's a huge inspiration for the series. I did reach out to him to kind of get his blessing to do a Soul Calibur version of what he does with Tekken. What we're going to be doing with the series is interviewing top strong players, however you want to view it, pro players, and having them let us pick their brains, how they view matchups, how they view the character, things like that, and make it fun. We have crazy things going on with the world, but we're trying to have some fun and really bring the community together because there's nothing like the Soul Calibur community. All right, so the first thing I wanted to address, I'm going to do this once in every episode. We're going to go over notations, like we're going to say things like 66A, 4G. If you're confused about that, look at the numpad of a keyboard. The 5 is a joystick. So that'll tell you all the directions that we're going in. So 66 will be forward. And at the beginner level, that's really all I can address with that. Saiyne, tell us a little bit about yourself, or maybe the newer people who are just picking up Caliber.
Personally or caliber wise?
Caliber-wise, my man. Please appreciate it.
So I am an Ivy player. I've always been an Ivy player, but I've always hopped throughout other characters. I played Setsuga in 4. I played Cassandra in 4. So my basing of my playstyle is actually from the Greeks because I played Cassandra. It's been from high execution characters, and my foundation has always been from a Greek. So I feel like I approach Ivy as if I'm playing a Greek character in the back of my head, even though she doesn't have the tool set of a Greek player. I feel like the reason why I'm so successful with Ivy is because I have a very grounded foundation to approach the character. I understand that when playing Caliber, you want to have a standard BB, a standard AA, a 2A.
Right.
So that's in the back of my mind when I'm playing Ivy because she doesn't have those tools.
Right, she doesn't.
So what stands me apart from other Ivy players is because I feel like I've played those characters and I've studied different matchups with those characters, and I've been able to fight those characters. So when approaching Ivy, I feel like one problem that Ivy players face is that while they do know how to offend, their defense is lacking, and that's not their fault. I feel like Ivy's tools, let's say her 2A, for example, in this game, her 2A isn't a standard 2A. I don't know the exact frame, how fast it is, but it's much slower. And then if it hits on hit and on counter hit, it's not plus.
Right.
So there you go. 2A is one of the most staple moves in the entire game. Her BB, while it's I-14, there's times where it doesn't come out quick enough to punish negative 14 moves. So we have her 2A and her BB being slow and awkward. And then her single A is what makes her shine, I noticed, in this game. And one thing I've noticed is what Ivy players are doing now, which I kind of disagree with, is always using the second part of the AA. So what I'm doing, my approach of Ivy right now is that she has a lot of good horizontals, and her verticals are really good, and her speed isn't necessarily that good. But what I'm doing is I'm kind of trying to contain Ivy players with single A and 3A and movement, and 3A hold. I like to use those moves because I like to keep my game plan very centralized, and it seems like it's very mixed up and all over the place, but I'm usually thinking about one thing at a time.
Right.
And then I'll ditch that in the middle of the set, and people like it'll make it seem like I'm not really having any game plan or whatnot. Which I do have a game plan, but I make sure that I'll implement that game plan and then I'll ditch it mid set, and then I'll implement a new game plan just to keep it fresh. Because Ivy is very, if you play in a one track mind, I noticed that she doesn't go very far.
Absolutely right, and she has a lot of tools. There's some characters with a very small tool chest that here's what you have and that's it. You know, Ivy's not like that. You use a lot of moves. So from your perspective, what is, let's say somebody is a intermediate Ivy, maybe say they're struggling to start the round. What would you start the round with Ivy? You don't know the player.
Don't know the player.
Tournament.
Mm-hmm. Can we use movement?
Yeah, sure.
I think an Ivy player in tournament needs to, if they don't know the player, backstep. Do a simple backstep and see what they're doing. If people watch my recordings, there's something that I'm revealing by myself. I use movement to see what's going on.
Right.
Ivy's movement is ridiculous.
Stellar. Absolutely.
Very, just crazy. And one thing that people don't use is movement to their advantage. You can use movement to avoid players, but you can also use movement to see what they're doing. Mm-hmm. So a lot of the times I would advise an Ivy player to backstep in the beginning of the match and possibly B6 and see what their opponent does, or just backstep and block.
So let's start showing people. So because we actually have some people who are not Soul Calibur players, so I want you to be kind enough to show me. Let's see here. All right. So let's say from positions of, because this is a 3D game, so movement, again, is excellent actually for both of these characters. So I feel like, I agree with you, a lot of people are not using all of her tools. So as far as this range right here, range 3, you start the match, you're moving around. What moves are you looking for? What are you fishing for?
So if I'm in this range, this is my comfortable range. I'm using B6.
Okay.
To look to see if I can land a combo. If I don't land a combo, that's not the end of the world because B6 has great recovery.
Is this counter hit only combo or natural?
This is a normal hit and counter hit combo.
Okay.
And there's a lot of different extensions.
Okay.
If you'd like me to go over that right now.
Yeah. Show me a couple so people see it.
So B6, if you land it, you can go into it.
And that's a tech trap too, isn't it? Or am I thinking of something else?
You're thinking of something else.
Okay, go ahead.
But B6 into AP plus K into 6B8.
And look at that Oki you get. That is terrifying to wake up to.
I agree, because she can go into a command grab.
Exactly.
Or a low, or it just, the misconception about Ivy is that while she is a long range zoner, she's actually very dangerous up close.
Absolutely.
But going back to the start of the round, how do I?
Go ahead.
So at range 3, I'm looking for B6.
Okay.
B6 is safe on reversal edge, and it's just safe recovery. If they sidestep it,
I didn't know that.
Serve can sidestep it and CE you.
Right.
But at the same time, it's going to be very hard. There's a lot of serve players that struggle with punishing.
That's true. I agree.
It's very difficult. So what do you say? What else do I do? Personally, I use 1A at this range, at range 3, but sometimes it whiffs. And there's times where I will continue it. There's a follow-up, a second A. And people will try and backstep the 1A and try and run in, and they'll get clipped with the second A.
Right. Let's try that. Go ahead. Yeah, you can't get away from that. And I move well. Cervantes has great backdash. Yeah, you can't move away from that. And
the scary part about that is 1A is negative 14 on guard, and 1A is negative 16 on guard. So it's crazy.
And you can just do one and into a command grab. You can do one and back up if you don't like what's happening.
You can do one. A lot of the times people get so nervous of Ivy, they'll backstep after 1A. Let's say you backstep after 1A.
Oh wow. And then they'll be counter hit.
You can do that,
okay.
And it can get into a lethal hit. I personally like to do 1A into CS. Yeah. A lot of people duck there, or 1A into Juarez and K.
Right.
I don't know the advantage that I get off of that, but those are setups that I use.
I like that.
But
Okay.
range 3 is really nice when it comes to keeping people away from you.
Mhm.
And the dangerous part about range 3 is that people can get frustrated in this. Let's say I'm fighting you with range 3 with B6, stepping B6, I'm doing 1A, and you're trying to get in. I'm trying to keep you out with these tools. You can run in, and if you run into me, I could grab you, and that's where Ivy game plan starts to open up.
Show me what that looks like. So like you're
Okay.
trying to keep me out with just these moves. I want to run in and be cute.
Yeah.
And look at her evasion. Look at her movement is ridiculous. Do you use 6A, 6A by itself, and 66AA?
6A I don't use too much, but I use 6AK, and I use single A.
What's the long range one? Is it 66A?
6A hold.
6A hold. Okay,
6A hold is great for catching people sidestepping.
gotcha. Yeah, that's a good move. That's a very anti-meme move. There you go. And it just comes out of nowhere. So people new to this game, this shit is hard to break. I think it's less than 10 frames. It's allegedly you could break it, and we always joke at that. No, you can't break it. You can break it,
Yeah.
but it feels impossible, especially in a tournament setting. It's terrifying. So you start ducking, and you get popped by all her good mids.
If you try to mash out the break, which is like try to mash out a 6A, like a single A,
That's me, yeah.
you have to press it 6 times per.
Wow.
6 times per second.
Really?
I don't know what it is. You have to press it a lot.
I did not know that. That's new information. Wow. You have to press 6A 6 times within a second?
Yeah, I don't know how true that is, but I've noticed that you have to press it a lot.
I mean, this seems about right.
Yeah.
Wow, okay. So what do you recommend for people that want to be cute and move around you? What do you recommend for step killers?
The go-to I would go for is AA, or I personally like single A. I like single A because the second A can be ducked.
I was going to say we didn't tell people why this is a bad idea. Go ahead. And then,
It's
yeah.
unsafe. However, if you do, and let's say you do single A and you duck and try to punish me, you can get a punish here and there, but in the mid part of the set, it's going to be very hard.
Oh, absolutely,
to
very
punish
hard.
a single A.
And this is not you're not going to react to this second A. I just want to be clear to people. You're not going to react to the second A. You're literally making a hard read. So you're doing that, and you're ducking, and you get popped. So it's hard. It's a hard read.
And the beauty of that is that she also has a follow-up called with AK, which is a mid, and she gets really nice advantage off of that.
Oh, you're right. Okay.
And a lot of Ivy players like to CS after that and grab after that.
After the AK hits?
After the AK hits. Even if it's not on counter hit, even if it's on normal hit.
Interesting. Oh, I'm sorry, go
You
ahead.
can sidestep it also. But I personally stick with single A because I feel like I have a lot more control.
It's safer.
I feel like
yeah.
it's safer. When I use AK, sometimes I feel like I'm overextending.
Right.
And I can use the single A and I can try and grab you. Or I can use the single A and get away from you.
Oh, I didn't think of that. Okay. That's
And
actually
another
really good.
move. So range 3 is really nice for trying to frustrate the opponent. Range 2 is a little bit tricky. Because in range 2, she has moves like 6A, which is nice. And but at the same time she can be whiff punished. You can use 1A in AA or 1A in range 2. You can run up and grab.
And that's so hard to break. Like, you know it's coming too. It's like the scariest throw in the game. You know it's coming. And this is hard. And so you're going to walk around, a lot of times with Ivy, you're going to walk around like an imbecile. You're just going to walk around and just duck everywhere. And Ivy wants you doing that. Because now, if you're getting somebody to stop, you're controlling their movement.
Yeah.
That's great.
Range 2 is a little bit weird. Other Ivy players, if you look, they wouldn't be doing that. But I, personally, in range 2, I use 3A hold. I'm very comfortable in using 3A hold in range 2.
Is safe in this range? It's safe in general?
It's safe. It's not safe in general, but in this range, it's safe.
Okay.
You could AA it up close.
That's good to know. I didn't know that. Okay. How unsafe is it?
It's -12.
Oh, okay, so I can't super it from far away. Okay, just checking.
No. But she gets advantage off of this. Let's try to A, single A me. Like,
Okay, get hit first.
On counter hit. Let's see. Try and do an unblockable.
Unblockable?
Yeah, I'm doing unblockable. Damn, that's fast. Hold on.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
And I just want to see.
Yeah, mine's really fast. It's cheap.
So you see how? Okay, do a single A now. See, so it's neutral.
Oh, yeah, you see that.
But-
That's nice.
I don't really use it for the advantage, but I use it to check people stepping. I want to see if they're stepping in this range. So a lot of the times, if I'm doing, like, let's say I do a single A, I'll do a back step into 3A hold,
Oh.
and that'll. It's just a check to see if they're stepping
Are you knowledge checking them with this too?
with single A to see if they punish it.
Mm-hmm. Like
Yeah.
how much they really know this character?
Yeah.
Because
A
like
lot
me
of the
personally,
time-
I know how to deal with the jank and I know how to deal with the nonsense, but there's little stuff. That's something actually I was not familiar with that little setup. That's really cool. That's cool.
This setup is actually one of my go-tos, like back step 3A hold.
Wow, that's hard to beat, man.
I get really scared when players don't challenge me, which is funny.
Mhm.
Like I'm comfortable when players challenge me,
Right.
like with my setups.
Mhm.
But when a player is like not, when a player is spacing Ivy, this doesn't make any sense. But let's say you did this, and I did that, and I did back step 3 hold. If you were to, instead of me, if you were to get hit with a single A, and then
Right.
you were to backstep into raw IDGR me, I would think that you know a little bit about Ivy because
Right.
you know that I'm trying to get you with. I'm trying to get you-
Cervantes, unlike most of the cast, can comfortably fight Ivy at her range, which is mid range.
Yeah.
It's weird because he can auto GI on reaction her 6A hold. Let's show them what it looks like. Let's see here. So
That's-
on reaction,
yeah.
and that's tough for Ivy. Even if she whiffs it, actually, most characters can blow it up. And his super goes ridiculously far, nearly 3/4 of the screen. So
Yeah,
he could play. And go ahead.
and that comes into play with this matchup. I feel like as the seasons have passed, season 1, now we're in season 2. Like I don't know what patch we're on, but Cervantes can shut a lot of Ivy stuff down.
He can.
He has 3B plus K now.
Oh yeah, that's a great. Yeah, that's a ridiculous.
That move,
Yeah.
that move shuts down B6 a lot.
So
going
you
through
have
range-
I don't know if we went over. Did we go over pokes with Ivy? Like you that's single A. That's great. That 3A is great. What else do you like?
I love 3K. 3K is non-committal. It's +2 on hit.
And safe, right?
Safe. It's safe on reversal edge.
It is linear. You can
It
step
is very linear.
So there's got to be a hole
you can
somewhere.
Step it and launch it.
Right.
She can be launched.
Great
So
move,
let's say I do single A 3K. You could step it. You can even interrupt me. Single A is not that much an advantage.
Oh yeah, you're right. Okay. So what is it like? +2 maybe?
Single A.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Okay.
It's gonna be on counter hit. It's gonna be different.
Gotcha. Okay. What lows do you like? You use 1A. What else do you use?
1B.
That's your go-to? That's one of your go-tos? 1B?
1B is very linear and it's a little bit slow.
Right.
I like it because it's going to be safe. It's -6 on guard.
Oh, wow.
And then, let's say I do a CS. I want you to forward Yukemi and reverse ledge me.
Okay. Oh. Do it again. Oh, wow. That was cheap. I don't like that.
But if you try to get up and try to reverse ledge, it's going to be a problem.
I can't.
Oh.
I can't roll it towards you and I can't, yeah.
Okay.
Wow. That's good. That's a good move, though.
But, reverse ledge now. Hold it.
Huh. Oh, are you safe?
It's already safe, yeah.
Oh, man.
So she has that's already safe. There's moves that also keep the player out and push the player out.
Mm-hmm.
If we're not talking about pokes, force crush 3A plus B. I'll have to switch my buttons again. It doesn't matter. This move, this is a high.
That's a great
Vertical
move.
high.
Yeah.
but it pushes people back, and it's really nice because you can use, like, you can start setups with that.
It's honest. It's just like a great. Go ahead, do it again. That range is very deceptive. Like that doesn't look like that's gonna hit me from there. And wow,
Yeah,
that's a great move.
and another move, 6BB. That move is great for pushback. It natural combos. Even in Soul Charge, they switched that. It didn't always do that.
Didn't they change something? Oh, it was the last patch they made it now to natural, right?
Yeah, last patch they made it to natural combo.
And you're plus on that, aren't you? On block?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't challenge it. That is nice. Alright, let's see here. What about... go ahead.
But up close, ideally, I like to fight at all ranges. I like to slip in and out of range 1 and 3. Range 2 I don't like so much, being that I feel like Ivy is very unsafe in range 3 because her single A is out of reach.
Right.
Her 6-6A she has, but it doesn't catch all corners. And then her 6-6A hold, they've changed that. It's been severely nerfed. Like in patch 1, she was able to use that freely.
Right.
And the dead zone wasn't as crazy.
Patch 1 Ivy was the day 1 super. Oh man.
Yeah, she was ridiculous.
Oh man. For those of you not familiar with Ivy or new to the game, she had a super move that auto GI'd, auto guard impacted, highs, lows, throws. It just seemed like nothing beat it. It was just really, really, really good. And they nerfed it for season 2 to where I believe A's and lows beat it, or just A's.
Yeah. All horizontals beat it.
Okay. Yeah, it's still very good for B's, where people get predictable. Verticals.
It's so good now. It's not so good now, but
it's good.
It's definitely useful. It's good.
Fair.
I like that they implemented if you land the CE for a round killer,
right,
you can get the 3-3K lethal hit.
Oh wow.
And you can do
that all combos? No.
Yeah, it doesn't combo?
Oh,
so it's going to be 3-3K. This is if you land the CE. It's going to be 3-3K hold 4 into 2B plus K into Ivy Lick. And that's going to do about 95 damage.
Oh, wow. And that movie did, it's a high, right? That kick?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a high.
So it's 100% tracking, but it is a high, so that's good. And it's safe also?
It's safe.
And what move was that?
3-3K hold
3-3K.
4.
Okay.
And she has a 3-3K also, but she doesn't turn backwards.
Okay.
I had a couple of force guard setups that Ivy players I noticed don't use.
Show me.
Myself. So what I've noticed is that Ivy players usually use 3B into 1B plus K.
Yes.
You can't roll out of that. You can me out of that. That's the go-to Ivy. She gets 8% guard damage from that if you block it. What I've noticed, I haven't tested it on every single character, but she can also do this. She can do 3B into 6-6B plus K, and 6-6B plus K does around 14 guard damage, 14%.
Oh, so you want us to block that? Okay.
Yeah, I've only tested it so far today, but I want you guys to block that. But it's really useful because I noticed that even if they just guard it right before crush, it still breaks. From what I've tested, I have to go back and test it more, and you can get lethal hit off that if you can switch the settings to you crushing. I could
go ahead.
You can block. Okay, let go of block.
Oh wow.
But it's supposed to lethal hit, but it's character dependent.
Oh, okay.
But it can come in handy if you are near edge and you wanna get like a B6.
Okay.
To a 2A plus G. But that's
still
one force card.
That's amazing range to have a free hit. That's like really, really nice. Wow.
Yeah.
Very nice, man.
Oh.
Very nice.
What else? What else could we go over? What question did you have for me before I interrupted you?
No. Go ahead. Continue your thought.
So I like that force guard because it pushes people back, and you can't GI it.
Mm-hmm.
I tried GIing and it doesn't interrupt.
Okay.
I also like that force 3B. I personally use 3B. If I 3B, I'll go into soul attack. And
that's a nice
soul attack
50-50.
is
Yeah.
IV players use this also. You can use it to continue your offense.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't do a lot of damage, but I think that it's really good. I think soul attack is really nice with IV. For me, when I have the life lead and I get a launcher and I want to close the round,
Right.
a lot of the times I'll use soul attack and continue the pressure because she can enter her serpent's embrace.
Right.
And a lot of the times people are ducking because of her
Because it's scary. Yeah.
her grabs or her 6AA
Right.
unblockable. But the thing is that she can continue that. They'll usually either do that, they'll duck, or they'll reverse impact.
Mm-hmm.
But the pressure can continue if I.
How do you blow up in that stance? Is there a way to blow up RE? I thought there was.
There's two different ways. You can 4B.
That could be right.
I have to do it quicker. Let me I'm gonna
Go ahead.
do this.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's the setup.
You can blow up Ari like that, or you can blow up Ari this way.
Oh, okay.
So those are two different ways. That way is very difficult in a high pressure set. Because if you don't land all just frames, you get punished, and you enter
that's true.
the Ari animation.
So for Cervantes play, that's like dropping IGO when you really need it. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. And also IV players, you can step in Serpent's Embrace, which is nice.
Interesting. Okay.
And that could avoid the Ari.
Hmm.
Other setups that I use, this setup is very dangerous. A lot of IV players, I've noticed that Incendiate uses this at a round ender. I don't know if other IV players use it at a round ender, but I think this setup, 2-2K, into Christmas Tree, into B6 is a very dangerous setup.
Really? Okay.
It's because if you look at all the replays of me playing IV or someone else playing IV, a lot of the time at the round end, if an IV player does 2-2K into Christmas Tree, they'll back Yukemi. And back Yukemi is the worst thing I feel like in that setup. Because
you're eating that.
You're gonna be forced to you're setting yourself up to guess. I think staying on the ground is nice or front Yukemiing. But the problem that lies in front Yukemiing is that she can CS you. But I usually go for that. I usually go for the setup at a round ender or near an edge because people like to back Yukemi, and I can get a 2A plus G or a B6. I can get a sort of pseudo 50-50 setup.
So that's where the right around here, that ground throw will ring out, right?
Yeah. She has her lethal hit 3K. That's also it hits males only, which is really nice.
Oh, it's males only. Oh, interesting.
It's males only, and it's safe on reversal edge, and it's really nice in general. It has really nice tracking. Like sometimes it tracks to the left.
Interesting. Okay, that's good. So it's a Virgo with good tracking. Okay. Do you have? I think you do. Tech traps. Any tech traps at Ivy?
Yes. Ivy has really good tech traps this season, which is really nice. She has. Let's say I land at A plus B, not the lethal hit version, but the standard one. Let's say you can use Kemi left or right.
Oh.
So let's say that's a really nice one. I actually learned that from I learned that from I saw Raymond do it. So A plus B into that. If you keep on Yukamiing,
Wow. So
then that
stay on the
that
ground.
one people skate also Yukamis. There's another Yukami trap to that.
Go ahead. So still not fun for me.
But aside from the A plus B Yukami trap, let's say I do 1B plus K.
That's the one. That's the one I'm thinking of. Rob. Yeah. Rob
That
tortures me with
that catch. Yeah, that catches left and right, and let's say and front left and right, and let's say you back Yukami.
Right.
Actually, back. I'm not even doing that.
Oh, gross. So I'm just lay on the ground.
So it would be best to lay on the ground.
Okay.
It would be best to lay on the ground. That's one of her most solid Yukami traps. What else does she have? She has this also. Like, let's say...
So that's not real? I can get out of that?
You should be able to get out of that. I might be wrong. Because I've seen people get out of that. So it is real.
That's real. Wow.
That's
yeah.
real.
That's great. Wow.
There's this one is a little bit fake. Let's say you don't Yukami. Let's talk about like traps that people don't Yukami end up getting messed up with.
Okay.
Not that people would use this, but I use it.
I've seen
That'll work.
some setups with that. That's actually
But if you tech, you can get out of it. If you tech left or right,
left. I'm trying.
you can't get out. You can't get out.
Like, maybe I'm bad. It's also very possible I'm bad. Okay, there we go. Get a mash out.
So that's that. And if you end up coming in, the Ivy can mix up with 4-4-A plus B. There are players who you can see the visual cue and not get mixed up by this, but you definitely would have to train to pick up on the visual cue.
That's a tech trap too. Okay, cool.
Yeah, and that'll catch you. That'll catch the teching left or right.
Okay, that's good to know. What about I don't know if you were done with tech traps. Because I wanted to do ring out setups also. I think I skipped that.
Ring out setups. Okay, yeah, I have some ring out setups.
Do you want me to move, or do you want me to move with you?
Go all the way to the edge.
Okay.
I learned this from an Ivy player the other day.
Oh, wow.
I learned this from Raymond.
Cool.
I didn't know that this worked, which is weird because her ring outs were nerfed. So it's really surprising that she still has really strong ring outs. While rising B, this still works.
Wow.
I didn't know that still worked.
Wow. I've never seen that before. Good find, Raymond. That's nice.
I messed up on if you duck here,
Oh no.
that
Oh,
works.
That's just disrespectful.
Soul Charge is a little bit different, but as far as that, she has, what else does she have?
The ground
She
throw,
has-
right? Because that's why you're ducking, is the ground throw.
Yeah. You're ducking because of the 50-50
Go ahead, do it again.
background
Should ring
throw,
out.
which is 2A plus G.
Yes, one of the most depressing moves in the game, getting caught by that by the edge.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
And that's why people duck, and that's why that mix-up works. Okay,
That's why people duck.
that's nice. That's nice. Okay. Go ahead, you're driving.
And she also has this, but this doesn't ring out. This is 3A plus G.
But it's a great fit.
But Ivy players try to like set up another 2A plus G or something. A lot of the times, Ivy players will try to finesse their way to the edge to get that 2A plus G. She also has, let's say you do a 3B.
Usually it's a legal hit. Yeah,
It'll lethal hit.
usually. There you go.
Damn.
Boom.
And then, like, I
That's
can
usually
realign.
ring out.
Yeah, that could ring out too. 6BA. you can realign
Oh, I'm out. Yeah.
Ivy. Like, let's say I land the lethal hit, you can do a 2 or 8 while Ivy and do 6B8, 6BA, and continue the combo.
Oh, okay.
Which is really nice.
So you can realign yourself. That's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, you can realign yourself anyway, backwards, forwards, left or right. And let's say you do a 3B. Yeah.
Oh no.
You did that also.
That works.
But the problem with that is that it doesn't catch all the time. That combo isn't guaranteed in every single situation.
So it's inconsistent. Okay. I hate that.
It's inconsistent.
I got you. Okay.
There's wall combos also. Ivy has really nice wall combos.
Go ahead. Show me whenever you're driving. Tell me where to go.
Stay there. So my go-to wall combo is with Jump K. I really love Jump K near a wall because it's -6 on guard, meaning that if they reverse the ledge,
Are you safe?
Are you safe? I'm not gonna have to deal with.
Oh no.
That's where it's dangerous because it's a win-win for me for the RE. Is that
Right.
I think that at the wall, my mentality is that I'm not gonna do anything like super crazy or anything.
Right.
I'm gonna keep it very small because I want to see how my opponents react. And so I'm gonna be jump K'ing, and even if I don't land it, it's safe. It's safe. A lot of the times, people, if they're gonna step it, a lot of the times I'll recover in time. But if they happen to reverse ledge like you just did, I could sidestep it. I could sidestep the reverse ledge and blow you up with 2-2A. And
that's nice. I didn't know that.
And then it lands into try and reverse ledge now.
That was a very nimble thing. Wow.
She can go into 6AA, which is another wall splat.
No.
And the wall splat is very range dependent and angle dependent.
So that should have resplatted, right?
It could resplat, and then you can continue another wall combo. Or you can continue the wall combo, I should say.
Interesting. Okay.
She has a lot of people love grabbing Ivy near a wall ledge and a ring edge, which is I don't advise because
let's show them why. Come here. Let's show them why that's a terrible idea. So people want to oh, I gotta get Ivy the ring. She's just their character. Let's say I even do AA. Bye.
I would advise not doing AAs.
Don't do a high. Yeah, don't do any high by the edge.
Don't do highs.
Yeah.
Don't do any grabs, and don't do any verticals. I think that the best game plan against Ivy near the edge is
don't play with
staying at a range, staying away out of range of this move, while rising B, and this move 2-2A.
And so, let's show the long range one too that rings out. Don't you have a long one where you could pull back and ring me out from there?
They took it away.
Oh, they took it away. I was just kidding.
Which was this?
They nerfed it? Okay.
They nerfed it.
It's still a threat, but I'm glad it doesn't ring out anymore. For selfish reasons, of course. All right.
But
go ahead.
Ivy player could get creative and
right here. Go ahead.
They can get creative and reposition.
Reposition. That's smart too. Okay.
I don't think Ivy player would do that. I wouldn't even do that because it's a lot of damage. But you can get as creative as you want with this character.
But if you're down, let's say you're down in life. Let's say you're down a lot of life, and you really want to go for that ring out, right? You would probably do that.
Yeah. A lot of the times, if I'm down in life, what I've been doing lately actually is I've been doing a lot of 6KB cancel, which is totally off topic, but 6KB cancel is really nice because you can cancel it near the edge, and I've gotten ring outs where I've done 6KB cancel into this,
and it was counter hit
out at the edge. But it's supposed to push out near the edge, and I've got it, but it's way too specific.
It's okay. All right, but that's still a nice that's nice pressure by the edge because if you're not familiar with Caliber, the whole round just disappears if you are rung out. So fighting by the edge, I don't care who you are, it is stressful. There's a lot
Yeah.
of things you have to watch out for from first and most characters, especially Ivy. She has a lot of ways to ring you out.
Intermediate players, I would say, like my advice, I would say for Ivy players is that for you, a lot of Ivy players are gonna go for this. She also has the back grab where you can break
Go ahead,
back
go ahead.
to ring out. Everyone knows this.
Right.
But at the same time, you could still land it on anybody. However, I feel like what's dangerous is when Ivy players start using CS near edge, because CS is a forward break.
Right.
It's something that I still practice and I haven't gotten perfect.
And plus, look at the position you have. Let's say your back's to the edge completely. Do the CS again.
It repositions you,
That's terrible.
and
I don't want to get
I
out.
don't like no one's gonna break forward. You don't want to lose the whole game.
Absolutely.
So she's kind of at advantage in a weird sadistic way
No, I agree.
near the ring edge.
I agree.
I don't think she's at a disadvantage. So if you see an Ivy player backing up to the ring edge, I wouldn't even challenge.
All right, just
that.
back up, right? Just run.
Yeah, there's
Reposition?
a lot of times in match where I'm backing up to the edge and people's like, I'm not following you there, and I'll just stand there for a good 20 seconds because they refuse to fight me at the ring edge.
I don't blame you. I don't blame them, yeah, because it's dangerous.
A lot of Ivy players love the CS. I think that SS is a lot easier.
And it's unbreakable.
less-
That's a big advantage of it too. Unbreakable.
It's unbreakable. The Just Frame version is 65 damage. Regular version is 60 damage. Inside 20. But it's really strong because, of course, it's unbreakable. And if you land it, people do have a more tendency to duck, I've noticed in my experience, instead of CS, even though CS is more damaging.
Absolutely. Like the summon and criminal both, CS and CS, CS and SS. I tend to duck more than I want to against, Ivy, because I played Tekken and Soul Calibur for years, and I'm under the mentality, don't duck unless you have to. And Ivy's, unfortunately, that CS and SS is so strong, it counts to me as a 50-50. So when you start ducking, you start getting blown up in mids. It's tough. It's tough.
A strategy that I like to use with Ivy is that even though she has these grabs, I've noticed that a lot of times I struggle, or other Ivy players struggle with landing the grab in game because the player just won't sit still, or they want to keep ducking. And that's something that really irks me as an Ivy player, is when someone continues to duck, even though you want them to duck.
Right.
But you want to also land grabs on them. So I've noticed
Oh, no
that
question.
I spam 3A. Like, there'll be times where I'll 3A, and if they duck again, I'll 3A again.
Oh, okay. I see why you do that. Yeah.
I get plus 12 off of it.
Wow.
And, like, let's say I 3A and CS. If I do the CS perfectly after the 3A, you can't initiate your reverse ledge, which is really
But
nice.
even then, in any situation, whether it's just frame, whether it's not, look at the disadvantage I'm at, or after that, 70 damage throw, and then I'm right at your feet. It's terrifying.
Yeah.
That's really, really good still.
There's really nasty setups if people try to 2A after your advantage with Ivy also.
Show me. Go ahead.
Let's say I do 3A. A lot of times I've experienced when people, they try to 2A after my 3A. Hold on, let me actually 3A.
That's something I would do. That's something I would definitely do. Wow.
I haven't used these setups yet, but I've used, like, let's say she also has AA, correct?
Right.
And her AA gives her +2 advantage, and you're left at back turn. Not to, like, hop around it too much, but AA, you're at back turn. A lot of times I've also experienced high-level players, medium-level players, and low-level players 2A after my AA. And it's because they're trying to avoid a CS.
I do that a lot because I play an IV. I do that a lot. So show me how to blow that up.
You could do this.
Oh.
I have to do it perfectly though. Why is it not back? Why are you not back there? That's so weird.
I mean, it's still a free whip punish. Oh my god. Oh no.
That's the ideal version to blow it up. It's
want.
very specific, but it's an option. Also, you could also 2A
Yep.
push G. A lot of Ivy players. This
I've
is
been
the
hit by
go-to
that.
setup.
Yep. I've been
All
hit by
Ivy
that.
players use this.
Yep. That's
Or you
so
could just-
familiar.
Yeah.
It's funny.
So that's what I usually use. If I'm trying to check to see if someone's ducking, going back to the other thing. I'll 3A check them.
That's good. That's very smart. Okay, I like that.
And it's safe. It's safe if they block it, and it's not. It's a reversal edge safe, but you can't punish a reversal edge.
Right.
You're not gonna. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. So let's see here. Before, I actually want to skip one thing because I want you to give me some good details on it. What is something fake that you see a lot of people fall for that IV players do that people should be getting out of?
Setup wise.
It could be setup wise. It could be a move, maybe a string that just no one's ducking. Anything.
That is actually a good question. Something that's fake with Ivy. This. Oh my god, this is the fakest thing. There's a lot of this. Like, I want you to block it.
Okay.
But it's the funniest thing. I still land this, and it's so funny. This is fake. It's fake, and this fake. You can sidestep it.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people know that you can sidestep it, and I even get hit by this. But a lot of the times when you're in a tournament or you're in a high stress set, or the set is really close and you're nervous, a lot of the times people statue guard.
But isn't that what they want though? Like they want that. Like if you hit me with that and you let it go early, now it's a counter hit combo. So isn't that the mix-up?
It is a mix-up. However, like there's times like holding the whole thing.
That's a hard read, yeah.
That has landed. That's fake. But the mix-up is if I do this.
Right. That's what I'm scared of. That's why
Yeah.
I kind of sit there sometimes and the screen goes dark and I'm not moving because I'm scared. Okay.
But the unblockable itself is not real. But I know what you mean. It's like a gray area where there's real but the whole unblockable landing doesn't make any sense.
That's good to know. Okay, so let's get to what a lot of people have probably been wondering.
This is
Go ahead.
That's
a high, right?
This is a high.
Yep.
However, the reason why a lot of people get hit by this unblockable is that they get up way too early to punish it.
Agreed.
And that's another thing that Ivy players get away with. You have to completely commit to the duck and then attack.
I got you. I like that. Go ahead.
And you said you wanted to get to something.
Yeah, I wanted to get to what probably people have been wondering since you and quite a few people picked up the character. How do you beat Ivy?
How do you beat Ivy?
What are things you're thinking of against another Ivy that are not Ivy specific, just like things you're trying to blow up, get around? How do you approach the matchup if you're fighting at a good Ivy?
If I'm fighting a good Ivy, do I want to mirror the Ivy or do I... Ideally, when I'm fighting a good Ivy, or any Ivy of that matter, I feel like a lot of Ivies give me trouble. I think that one thing that Ivy players do that messes them up is that they're greedy. I think that Ivy players are very, very greedy people when it comes to playing, because I noticed that what they'll do, at least in what I see, is that let's say they land they'll do like a 2TK.
Mm-hmm.
They'll run up and try and CS.
Yep.
And this setup is like stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then if they land like if they land a back grab, they'll go for another CS. I think one staple for Ivy players is that if they land a knockdown, they are always going for another grab or another command grab. And one thing that blows them up is, I think that reversal edge blows them up. I think that Ivy players who command grab a lot get blown up with reversal edge. And granted, there's another layer that adds to it when Ivy players start to bait out the reversal edge, because Ivy is excellent at baiting out reversal edge, but I think that there's a lot of times where Ivy players don't do that and they stop at that level and they get blown up by reversal edge because they can't get any grabs out. And I noticed that when Ivy players aren't able to get those grabs out, they're
frustrated.
They get frustrated. Thank you. They get very frustrated, and then they start playing sloppy. They'll try and do stuff like 2-2A, and they'll it's like they're swinging for the fences, and they're not trying to focus on the game at hand. This is very I'm not being very literal, but this is like the mindset I see with Ivy players.
No, it's a common trend. I see that too. Like, and of course, not every Ivy player, but a common thing I see is like too many Ivies are basing their whole game plan around landing summon or criminal. That's a nice
Yes.
bonus on top of the very great package that she already is. She can win
Yes.
entire rounds without ever hitting you with that move.
Exactly. That's why I feel like Ivy players don't do as well as they would like, because she isn't scary because of having busted tools. I think the mentality that you should have with Ivy, at least my mentality, when I was at the peak of my competition and when I was at the peak of my play, is when I'm entering this tournament set. I know that I have let's say Christmas Tree was really busted. It was a Warriors and B plus K. It's not busted anymore.
Right.
She has Warriors and B plus K. She has CS. She has SS. She has 1AA. What I'm going to do is I'm going to break these tools out. I'm going to sprinkle them out throughout the match. And I'm going to see how they react to it. And if I see that they're getting frustrated, that's when I'm going to continue using that. But what I've noticed is that they don't have a backup plan, or they don't have a facade. They don't fake it.
Right.
I think that Ivy is kind of she sets up these weird fake setups. Well, not fake setups. She sets up these weird mirages, I should say.
Overly aggressive setups, right?
Overly aggressive setups.
Hard reads.
Like one thing that I love doing with Ivy, like it's such a fake out, is that I'll like sit there and I'll duck for 5 seconds.
That's scary.
And then I'll 2-2-A.
Right.
So like whiff punish.
See, I would get hit by that, because if you're ducking here, you know what I'm thinking is coming out? Full crouch 1B. So immediately I'm going to start moving here, and then I'm going to get popped. That's actually a good move. That's actually a good strategy.
And going back to the question, I think that Ivy players should have multiple game plans. And so to beat Ivy, I think that you have to play very small. I noticed that when I lose a match against a good player, it's because they did not allow me to command grab. They did not allow me to command grab. They did not allow me to or get away from them. And that's when I've noticed that if I speak specifically, I struggle with Linkors, because he did not let me command grab. I had a tendency of summon suffering after everything.
Right.
And
I've seen you do it from the block button, which when I played,
like
it was very impressive. Yeah.
Yeah. And so he shut me down, and then when I tried to run away to punish him with 2-2-A and whatnot, playing in range 3, my comfortable range,
he was already out of range.
I would be out of range, or I would be getting counter hit trying to get out of range. So Ivy, you have to contain her. And one thing that I feel like people don't also realize is that Ivy's frames she's not that quick. She doesn't have the greatest frames.
True.
So and then also on top of not having the greatest frames, I feel like Ivy players, I don't know frames that well, and a lot of other Ivy players don't know frames that well, with a few exception of like Incendiate and a few others. But when a Ivy player is playing you and they have slow frames, they do not know the frames well, she's at a disadvantage. I feel like that's a weakness I've noticed of Ivy players, and that's me included.
Right.
And and then her range 2 being really weak. She doesn't she has 3 hold. She's very limited, it feels like, in this range.
She can annoy you in this range, but she can't kill you.
She can annoy you.
Right.
She can't kill you.
Right.
She can kill you in range 3 and 1.
Unless we're by the edge, right? If we're by the edge, range 2 is not my friend.
Yeah. Also, by the edge, range 2 is not your friend.
Yeah, I don't want to play with you when I don't like playing with Ivy in this range. It scares me. I don't care if I'm winning the whole round. I don't care if I'm stocked up on meter. I don't like playing with her by the edge like that.
One thing I will say, not to kill Ivy, but Ivy players trying to get a better Ivy or a stronger Ivy, let go of the 6-6-A hold. 6-6-A hold is great,
right?
But I think it's only great if you're whiff punishing something. Let's say you 6-6, 3B me right now. 3B, just randomly.
Okay.
Like whiff punishing.
Okay.
A 3B or something, or counter hit fishing something at a very tip range, that's when I think 6 should be used. But if it's just being used,
And I noticed they only do it because they want that, like you said, it's a greedy mentality. They want that lethal hit. They're not using it to hit you. They only want the lethal hit. And like, the move is so much more.
Yeah. I look at this move as I love the lethal hit, but I love when I land it. Like, there's times when I'm so nervous in a match and I'm landing a 668 hold and on normal hit and it's pushing them back and it's like, yes, I have a chance to breathe.
Right.
Ideally with Ivy, you want to have a chance to breathe. It feels like, and it's not even, I look at pushback and getting people away from me, trying to devise a new game plan or trying to set up something nasty or something ridiculous. I look at pushback as time to think.
Right. That's good. No, I like that because especially, which seems like a lost art, and I'm a Caliber player, so I can say this. It seems like a lost art is have people being patient when neutral. Like, I know Caliber is a button-happy series, but you don't always have to be pressing buttons. You can literally take what people give you, and I don't think enough people do that. And that's why it's fascinating to watch you play. And the rare time I played you is you move a lot, and I feel like the best players know how to move.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right,
I think that Ivy definitely should be. You're taking your damage. It shouldn't be this thing of like you're this rambunctious like chipmunk taking your damage.
Right.
You want to take your damage steadily at a steady pace. That's how I personally see Ivy. I don't see Ivy as I gotta get this command grab, then I gotta get this 2-2K, then I gotta get this SS. It's not this weird looping of like technique. I feel like she takes her damage and then she studies the opponent and then she takes her damage away from the opponent again.
She's great at hurting you for mistakes out of position. She's great at I think people overpsych themselves against Ivy. Like, they're like, oh, I don't want to get hit by criminal, or I don't get hit by summon, or I don't want to get hit by 6-8 hold or whatever. Like, they psych themselves out. You gotta, like you said, pick her apart, play patient, for sure.
Yeah,
it's good advice, man. You give us a lot of great information today. I was actually gonna open it up to the chat. Whoever is with us, I was gonna give Saiyne a couple questions. What do you guys got? It's a rare opportunity to pick this man's brain, so let's take advantage of it. I think Kowtow was asking something before. Hey, what's up? What's up, JC? The Kowtow was asking something. There's a limit to the half charge, I think, like a point where you're safe to keep without worrying about half charge. Okay, so this is a good question. What are matchups that you think Ivy struggles against?
I think that Ivy really struggles with Siegfried. I think that
interesting.
Ivy really struggles with Siegfried because Siegfried has this weird thing where I'm trying to get in,
right?
And he has multiple horizontals.
Get away from me, tools. Yeah,
that get away from Ivy. And Ivy shines against Siegfried up close, but the problem lies is that Siegfried he benefits from like ducking. Like, he can like do the wall rising B, and he also has the base hold to auto GI lethal hit per 6-6A. So my problem with Siegfried is that I want to get in on him and I want to grab him, but I feel like his toolkit makes it as though that I can't get in.
I can see that.
So I feel like he is the weirdest thing. He plays the better keep out range specifically in the Ivy matchup because his moves actually like have pushback animation and push Ivy all the way back, and Ivy's pushback moves on Siegfried don't really do as much. And then on top of him having pushback, he has guard pressure, which Ivy does also. But he's a better whiff punisher than Ivy is, and then he can push her back.
I agree.
And that's really tricky trying to beat a Siegfried player because Ivy has to take her turns where she can, and if she's going to take her turn, she has to do something very monumental. But then the very monumental things are CS and SF. So Ivy taking a turn in a monumental way becomes very predictable in the Siegfried Ivy matchup, at least in my eyes.
That's real good advice. Any other matchups you think she goes? Do you think she mostly just goes even with the cast and beats some of them,
Mm, I
or
think
you think
that
Siegfried's legit like 4-6?
I don't. I think it's gonna be 4.5, 5.5
Okay, that's
for
fair.
Siegfried Ivy. I think that Ivy's worst matchup is, or one of Ivy's bad or worser matchups, so would be 2B and. But this is up for debate because I struggle with 2B. Like
Well, no, I mean, not even
I
up to debate. Like, what do you personally think? If you feel a certain way, then just
2B
explain.
2B Ivy not having a 2A in the 2B matchup, I think it's so bad.
Hmm.
Ivy struggles. Ivy struggles shutting down a lot of AGS stuff because of not having 2A.
Because you can't get her
And
off
granted,
you. Yeah.
I can't get her off me, and 2B has a weird way of like entering very quickly, and then Ivy is very slow. So it's really hard to keep 2B off of Ivy.
Right.
And then on top of that, I feel like 2B is very aggressive, and then she also has range. It's very difficult. And if I'm winning in the 2B matchup, it's because I'm guessing right, and then I'm playing an active offense, and I'm using meter management correctly.
For sure.
I think so. Right now, specifically, I think it's going to be Saz. Saz, I think Ivy is struggling with a little bit. I played Ron. I played Omega.
Mm-hmm.
In this latest patch, Ivy is struggling a little bit with Saz. And I don't know. I wouldn't give a number, but she's struggling really bad with Saz. Because in previous patches, I feel like I could kind of run away from Zaz, and I feel like Zaz has a better toolkit to keep Ivy close to him.
Do you feel like because it's the range you struggle at with range 2, where that's where he excels? Because that's his best range is range 2.
Yeah, exactly. It's very difficult to play Ivy up close with Zaz because she doesn't have any quick buttons.
Right.
And granted, it's all about timing. You can pick up on the player's timing, but at the same time, Ivy up close, it's really hard to grab Zaz because Zaz is going to go for the fourth crouch kick.
Right.
That's going to lead him into a curse. And then you're doing this weird thing where you're trying to command grab when Zaz is that neutral and -2 or 4 or whatever. And it's just like you're swinging for the fences and you're not getting anything. And then Zaz has a auto GI that counter hits all, or auto GIs lows and all special lows and all lows in general.
Right.
Quarries. It's ridiculous.
It's the new Ivy Super. It's great.
Yeah.
And another question I had is actually a comment. I agree. 2B is such a Soul Calibur 6 character. Yeah, she's unga bunga anime. I'm not used to that. I'm too old man to like 2B. I don't feel her, but I'm glad she's in the game because she drew in a lot of fans, guest characters, so it's cool. Not for me though, but I'm glad you guys like her.
I don't like 2B at all. I think she is a disgrace to Soul Calibur.
A disgrace. It's strong. I like that, but it's true too.
I love that they put I love that they put her in the game because outside of 2B, like it's an excellent franchise and whatnot. However, for like, if we're talking about like true like fundamentals and neutral, I feel like 2B is not any of that. She doesn't feel like that to me. I feel like
it's true.
When I'm fighting against 2B, it feels like the 2B player literally like injected their controller or their body with NOS, and they're just literally pressing every single button, and there's no staggering of offense. And if they think they're staggering, it seems like it's this weird, I'm gonna stagger every 1.5 seconds, and this is what a stagger offense is called. When a true staggering of offense is when you really can't pick up on a person's timing and they're staggering, whether it be from 3 seconds to 1 second to half a second to 10 seconds. That's true staggering, but it doesn't matter with 2B because when you're blocking, she's just going to get meter from some magical miraculous stroke of luck and ring you out with AGS mix up.
And that's how I feel.
That's how I feel.
No, it honestly, I can't disagree because a lot of characters, I'm like, oh man, they outplayed me, oh they out neutraled me, or oh nice ring spacing. When I lost to 2B, I feel like I got 2B. Like if you took a shot for every time 2B did something good in fundamentals, you would be sober. You'd be okay to drive. Exactly how I feel. And hey, you're beating a Soul Calibur, good stuff. Like you're just playing the game. I understand.
Yeah.
But her style.
Her style is not. I don't respect it. Even though it doesn't matter, a win is a win. A win is a win, but I don't respect that character.
You're right. You're absolutely right. I had another question for you. So, one of my friends is a Talon main. What should Talon be doing to beat Ivy?
Ooh, that's a great question. Oh my god. So the Talon and Ivy matchup is really weird because Ivy, at first glance, seems like she struggles with Talon, but
Until she gets in.
Until she gets in.
Yeah.
Talon up close destroys Ivy.
Good luck.
And,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like it's very hard to like fight Talon up close. So when I'm fighting Ivy, I don't know if this will help with the question, but when I'm fighting Ivy, Ivy is really lucky in the Talon matchup because she has 214B. 214B beats out a lot of her dance entries into Wind Charmer and Wind Fury.
Right.
Wind Solve, not Wind Fury. I think Wind Fury is the 4B.
Your 214B beats out a lot of Talon stances?
Yeah.
Can you show that move real quick? Just so people see it? So that shuts out, not 214B hold, just 214B by itself. That shuts down a lot of stances?
Yeah, 214B.
Oh,
and it's dangerous because it'll shut down like a lot of dance entry that could go over it all, but we'll be here all night.
Right.
You could mix it with 214B and 214B hold, and it'll shut down a lot. And then also Christmas Tree beats out a lot of Talon's stance.
Oh, I can see that.
So I would have to go to over specifically each and every, but those two moves specifically do really well against Talon, and because they catch her Wind Salt and they catch her Wind Charmer.
Right. That's good advice. So Talon needs to work her way in and just live in her face, pretty much, right?
Yeah. One thing that I feel like Talon players need to recognize is that Ivy players are going to try and backstep.
Is that there's a guard button somewhere?
What'd you say?
No, I'm saying Talon players can recognize that there actually is a G button somewhere in the controller. Yeah.
Yeah. But the thing is, like, a lot of Ivy players do this panic thing where they try to backstep Talon when they get close. Mm-hmm. And that's the problem, where the problem lies. Like, let's say I'm up close with Talon, and Talon does like she does her 6-6 AA. I block it. An Ivy player, instead of trying to initiate their offense, they're gonna backstep. So a Talon player can take their advantage and start mixing them, like doing a Wind Salt into A+B, or doing like another 6-6A, or just running through them and doing 6-6B, doing anything that's gonna catch them. Also, she has that new move 6BK. She has new like series, a couple new series stances, not stances, series where she can do like 6B, 6BK. I would have to go over it. But...
So this is probably a brand new debate, I imagine, Ivy community, because Talon got some nice buffs. So
yeah,
the matchup, do you think change?
I'm only speaking on pre-patch Talon. I haven't seen Talon this patch.
Okay.
I don't even know how strong she is this patch, so that's beyond me.
Gotcha. All right. Well, I've taken up quite a lot of your time, and I can confidently speak for everybody where I really, really appreciate you giving us your time. The Soul Calibur community is a small community, but it's real tight. I've made some great friends here over the years, and really thank you. I want to keep the series going, and please, everybody, if you really want to learn a lot about Ivy, the top right corner of the Twitch is at Saiyne with _. Please follow him. He's also hilarious at his Twitter posts too. So Twitter doesn't always have to be toxic. He can be funny as hell. Please follow him.
Twitter is funny. Yeah.
Thank you very much for taking the time to play us today. This is going to be the first episode of The Way of the Blade. I'm most likely going to be having one of these a week, and please look forward to the YouTube video I'll be uploading with timestamps so people can kind of pick the part of the information. And we'll probably edit out actually, no, I'm going to keep it. All the 2B hate. I want you all to know I hate you. I love you as people, but 2B players, I don't like any of you. So
I apologize for the hate, but it's true.
No, he's not sorry, but it's okay. We're going to stand united on this. No one's sorry, but a win's a win. And again, thank you for joining The Way of the Blade. I'm out, everybody. Take care.
Take care.